Hello guys and welcome to the long-awaited constructed compendium from yours truly, the children's card game specialist of all time, Amaz in Hearthstone, also known as Amaz HS, also known as dual class arena specialist, and all these titles, winner of several competitions. Let's dive right into it. So we're gonna do a little bit different this time around. We're gonna start with the neutral cards, and then we're gonna go with the class cards. I'm still gonna rate each card to 0 to 5 stars, but I'm also gonna add in one extra thing. Is what decks I think are good in the specific class. There are gonna be some new archetypes, which range from pretty good to pretty ellie giggle, but then we will get to them when we get there. Okay, so let's start and go with the Guild Recruiter. Guild Recruiter is this 5-mana neutral card that basically recruits a 4-cost minion in your deck. I think this is just terrible. This is like garbage, right? Because why would you play this in Constructed? It's not breaking the game. It's a very fair card. I think this is a pure arena card. 0 stars. Silver Vanguard is a 7-mana 3/3 that recruits an 8-cost minion. Now, this does have potential in Constructed because you can formulate a deck that has a lot of 8 costs. And then if you have Silver Vanguard along with a lot of 8 drops, and then you play stuff like Barnes or like, you know, Shadow Essence, you know, if there's ways to cheat this out onto the battlefield, then it's really, really strong. It also works with the new legendary that we're gonna see. That recruits a 1, 2, and 3 attack minion. So this does have a little bit of a potential compared to like most 7-mana 3/3s. So I'm gonna give this 2 stars to start off. I think this could be abused, but at the same time, yeah, you don't really want to play a 7-mana 3/3, but you know, it can get there. Next we have Hoarding Dragon. It's a 4-mana 5/6 dragon. That has a death rattle, give your opponent 2 coins, so 2 mana at that turn. So this is a very aggressive card in Constructed, right? Obviously it'll be better in an aggro dragon deck that doesn't really exist, but the fact that you don't want your opponent to kill this means that you just want to hit them in the face with a 5/6. I just don't see this happening. There's just so many better dragon cards out there that might even be better. Like maybe Dragon Priest plays this just because it's a very big body and there's not a lot of good 4-drops in dragons. There's only the new Dustbreaker and there's no more Twilight Guardians, right? So maybe if we need a little more dragons, but like imagine if we play against anything that remotely combos with the coins, right? Like Quest Mage or like Miracle Rogue. This is just not good in Constructed, man. You're gonna enable your opponent to do some really stupid stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is 0. Cursed Disciple is a 4-mana 5/1 that summons a 5/1. I don't know why you want 2 Magma Rages in Constructed, so this is a very easy 0. Fungalmancer is a 5-mana 2/2 that gives adjacent minions +2/+2. You're not gonna have a board in Constructed too often, and even if you do, why are you only giving them +2/+2? While you can be giving them +4/+4 and summon a 5/5. And it requires you to have 2 minions. Now this is 0 stars as well. Sleepy Dragon is a 9-mana 4/12 taunt that sees play in Constructed, most likely from Historian. Like if you discover, then you can play it, but you're never gonna put this in your deck, right? Unless you have a budget deck. And if you're playing a budget deck, then you're playing a 0-star card like this. Kobold Apprentice. For 3 mana, you get a 2/1 that casts Arcane Missiles. This is also pretty bad. I just don't. The only way that this can see play is that this might come out against like aggro decks. Like if the whole Kobolds and Catacombs meta is all aggro and all Zulok, then this is still bad because you can just put AoE in your deck, you know? Yeah, this is 0. Boisterous Bard is a 3-mana 3/2 0-star card. Corrosive Sludge is a 5-mana 5/5 that destroys your opponent's weapons. If you want to destroy your opponent's weapons, then why are you paying 5 mana for it? The more expensive it gets, the worse it gets, right? Like, the Acidic Swampers is the best removal. And then you're gonna look to the 3-mana 3/3 that gains armor, right? The Greek Corrosive whatever. The 3-mana 3/3 that destroys a weapon. And then if you want to play a 5-mana removal, why not play Harrison Jones? So this is 0. Dire Maul. Okay, so Dire Maul is a 1-mana 1/3 beast. Now this is actually not that bad, right? 1-mana 1/3 is a very good stat line, especially if you buff its attack up. And this might actually see a little bit of play in Aggro Hunter and Aggro Druid, right? If you think about it, Druid right now has 1-mana 2/2 Enchanted Raven, and if you add another 1-drop to a Druid's, then it's actually more likely for you to play a 1-drop into Mark of Yasharaj, or 1-drop into Mark of the Wild. I mean, they don't really, Mark of the Lotus, right? And just buff up the whole board. So I think this card has a little bit of potential on actually being included in main decks. This is also very significant because if you're playing Deathstalker Rexar, the Hunter Death Knight, you can actually discover this, and then you can make something bigger, right? Because 1 mana for 1/3 is 4 stats in 1 mana. That's actually really, that's actually a lot, right? So I think Dire Maul overall is a good upgrade to the Druid and Hunter decks. I'm gonna give this like 3 stars. I don't think this is gonna be the best card in those decks, but if you want a 1-drop to fill out your curve and go face, then this is the one that does it, you know? Dragon Slayer is a 3-mana 4/3 that is a hates on dragons really, really hard. I don't see a meta where everybody's just gonna play dragons. I mean, only Dragon Priest is gonna be a thing because they have Dustbreaker. Other classes don't have dragons, and it only deals 6 damage, so it can't even, if everybody's playing, for example, Ysera, then it still doesn't really kill it. And it's a 3-mana 4/3 that doesning do anything. I think this is a very safe 0 stars. Fungal Enchanter is a 3-mana 3/3 that has the Najatar Darkscale Healer effect. This is like a Farseer card, right? So like cards like this could see play because Farseer was played back when rogues didn't have a lot of 3-drop options, right? And this arguably might be even better than Farseer in some cases, because Farseer only targets 1 target and restores 3, right? This targets multiples and restores 2, so it restores a little bit less, but it targets everything. So, you know, works with like Northshire Cleric. It might work in the Warlock deck if you need some more healing. It also might work in the Kazakus Warlock deck, where you actually are playing some big stuff like Twilight Drake and Giants and stuff like that, and restoring 12 to all characters kind of might come up, you know? So I think this is all right in that sense, but, you know, generally speaking, you know, these cards don't really, are like your main cards, right? You probably just want to include this in your fillers. So that'll be like a 1-star card. I think this might see play. Green Jelly is a 5-mana 3/3, and in return summon a 1/2 Ooze of Taunt. So basically, it's a smaller Hogger, and Hogger is not a play. It's not a card that will see plays. This is 1 mana cheaper, so it is. Honestly, it might even be better than Hogger in some cases because you can play 2 5-drops at once. But this is a very easy 0-star as well. Plated Beetle is a 2-mana 2/3 beast that has Death Rattle, gain 3 armor. So River Crocodile got a huge upgrade. But the fact that remains is still a 2-mana 2/3 that doesn't affect the board. Maybe control decks really need some 2-drops and they play this instead and gain 3 armor. I don't really see this. I feel like that, once again, this is like, you know, a possible card can include if the meta gets super aggro-y, but I just don't see this happening. So I think that's just gonna be like a 1-star. I still think this is playable since it's a beast and gives you armor. And God forbid control hunter deck comes up with this card, but I think it's just gonna be a 1-star. Suru Crawler is Razorfen Hunter, which means it's a 0-star card. Shroom Brewer is a 4-mana 4/4 of restore 4 health. So once again, you have these cards that are very like Farseer, and Farseer saw a lot of play. I think the 4-drop slot is a little bit more awkward, especially if you're playing stuff like a Handlock, because, you know, Handlocks have a lot of good 4-drops. They don't really need this type of effect. So Farseer might still be better in Warlock in a sense, because they're missing a lot of 3s. But once again, these effects are strong, right? And then if you think about it, there's a 2-mana 2/2 restore 2 health. There's a 3-mana 3/3 restore 3 health, right? At what point are these cards like really good. Like 5 mana 5/5 restore 5 health is really good. And then 6 for 6/6 is really good too. So there will be at some point where these cards are really good. But I think 4 is not really that good. 4 dice do a lot of stuff. Yeah, 4 dice to all the weapons, like True Silver Champion. It dies to like Soul Fires and Shadow Bolts, and it just 4 is not really that good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this 1 star. I think this is still very important in, you know, your Kazakhstan decks that only play like a singletons. Sneaky Devil is a 4-mana 2/2 stealth raid leader. So yeah, it's 1 more mana for a stealth raid leader. I don't think you want to play this. If you're playing an aggro deck, you're not playing a 4-mana card. So 0. Toothy Chest is a 3-mana 4/4 only if it lives 1 turn. 0. Trog Gloom Eater, 5-mana 1/5 with taunt and poisonous. It's actually kind of cool that, you know, it has taunt and it has infinite attack, so it's like really good when you do board trades. But it's constructed. Like, people don't really mind if they trade their 5/5 with this because, well, it's like an assassinate. And the fact that your opponent can actually remove this and it doesn't put any pressure on the board means it's a very easy 0 star. Violet Worm is not going to see play because it has a death rattle. It's really, really slow and it gets sapped. So that's 0. Wax Elemental is a 1-mana 0/2 Divine Shield and Taunt. So very like Shield Bearer. It's Elemental Synergy. But even if you put Elemental Synergy on top of Shield Bearer, it's still a 0. And finally, Stone Skin Basilisk just does not put pressure on the board. It's an assassinate that just works really, really slowly, so that's a 0 as well. So obviously the commons usually have a lot of shitty cards, so as long as we get all those out of the way, we can get into some cooler ones later, okay? So just wait, okay? We're gonna get to the more juicy ones in a bit. Let's see if we have any good rare cards here. Pharaoh Gibberer is a 1-mana 1/1 that when you hit the face, you get another copy of this card. So Pharaoh Gibberer only puts a 1-mana 1/1 Pharaoh Gibberer into your hand. So it doesn't really work with all the hand buffs. Like, I just don't see this card being good. It's a 1-mana 1/1. Sure, you can play it in like Quest Rogue or something, but then why don't you just play Firefly instead? Right? Firefly is so much more risk-free because you need to attack with this. There's no card that gives your minions charge right now, so it doesn't really work that way either. Like that's why Warsong Commander got nerfed, I guess. Warsong Commander died for this card. So I just don't see this happening. You have to attack your opponent's face. It's a 1-mana 1/1, so it dies to literally everything. And then even if you complete the rogue quest and you play this 1-mana 5/5 and you attack your opponent's face, you're just getting another 1-mana 5/5. So it's not really breaking the game. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is 0 stars. I think this is unplayable. Lone Champion is a 3-mana 2/4 that has Taunt and Divine Shield. It's the only minion on the battlefield. So this is potential. I think this is very alike Tar Creeper. I think Tar Creeper is still better though, because Tar Creeper will always work. Lone Champion will work in those really, really control-y decks where you really want to stabilize the board as early as possible. The fact that it has 2 attack is pretty significant, so it can actually, you know, kill those pesky flame imps and those you know, enchanted ravens and whatnot. Yeah, so this is actually okay, but I think at the end of the day, it's not going to be as good as Tar Creeper. It's another Tar Creeper for those Kazakhstan decks too. And obviously you can just play this and then play your other minions. The only way it doesn't work is that you already have some minions on the battlefield. So I think Lone Champion is okay. I think control decks will seriously consider this, especially Handlock too, right? Handlocks don't really have a lot of good 3-drops. So yeah, I'm happy with giving this 3 stars. I think this has potential. Hungry Etienne is a 6-mana 4/10 with Taunt and summon a random 2-cost minion for your opponent. I think in constructed this is not good enough. Summoning a minion for your opponent can really backfire on you. I don't know if the new meta will consist of Scalebane and Bone Mares, but it is a really strong archetype, right? So I think Bone Mares and Scalebanes are still going to exist some way, in some form. Maybe they cut Scalebanes and they still put Bone Mares, and then, you know, obviously you run into stuff like saps and removal, right? This is really good against Priest, I guess, but I don't think you would otherwise play this. So I think this is very easy. Well, it is still a potential, I guess, because it's really, really big. I'm gonna give this 1 star. I think this could see some play in some very, very aggressive shells. Furbolg Mossbinder is a 5 mana 1/1 that makes something a 6/6. This is just trash. Like, you do not want to play this at all because the elemental doesn't even have charge, so this is worse than Blessing of Kings. And there is not really a good way to abuse this, right? The only way to abuse this is if you can use like Potion of Madness or something to steal a card temporarily, or if you want to counter corruption or something. Like, that's not happening, man. This is 0. This is like cool in evolved decks, but then you remember that Doppelgangster's also in the game. So like, what are you doing with your life if you play this, you know? Evan Dragonsmith, 4 mana 3/4 dragon that reduces the cost of a random weapon in your hand by 2. If you're playing weapons, you don't really want to play a 4 mana 3/4, I don't think. You want to be playing stuff that either has a lot of tempo on the board, or you want to be playing a control deck that you know, wins the game late game. And this does not fit in either of those decks, so this is a 0. Gravel Snout Knight is a 1 mana 2/3 that summons a random 1-cost minion for your opponent. 1 mana 2/3s always have potential. And on average, your opponent is gonna get like a 1.5, 1.5, right? So it's usually, it could even be a 1/1. So this could be pretty good because it's a 1 mana 2/3. 1 mana 2/3s always have like potential, and control decks might even play this because it might summon something like a Mistress of Mixtures, and then you get some healing. Like, I feel like this card could be pretty good. Obviously, if it summons a 2/3 for your opponent, it'd be pretty bad. Man, 1 mana 2/3 is something to be scared of. I think this is actually pretty good. I think control decks might play this, aggro decks might even play this, mid-range decks might even play this. Like, it's a very scary stat line. The 1-drops that are really bad to summon for your opponent would be like Righteous Protector, Flame Imp, this itself. And that's really about it. All the other ones are like pretty easy to deal with. So I think this actually has some potential. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think this is going to be a player in some decks that can actually buff it up and stuff, and actually kill the 1-drop immediately. Kobold Monk is a 4 mana 3/6 that gives your hero the can't be targeted by spells or hero powers effect, the Shroud effect, right? I think this also has a little bit of potential. Like, what happens when you play this against, you know, a deck that really needs to target your face? Obviously, this doesn't work in a lot of situations. If you play against like Quest Mage, they can just fireball this and keep on fireballing your face. This doesn't really work against Raza Priest because they can just kill the monk and then kill your face. But at the end of the day, it's a 4 mana 3/6, so that is pretty good. And then if your opponent has those cards, and maybe they're playing like Face Hunter that really wants to kill command your face, this is kind of like a heal 6. So this reminds me of both Ram Shield, but it's cheaper. So I think this has a little bit of potential. Very small potentials. This might be like your 29th card or 30th card in the right metas. So I'm gonna give this 1 star. And I guess this kind of works out if you can give it stealth too, but I think at that point you're kind of cheesing it. So I don't think it's gonna be that good. Yeah, I'm gonna give this 1 star. Scorpomatic is a 2 mana 1/2 mech that destroys a minion with 1 or less attack. Now this is kind of interesting because it's kind of like a Shadow of Pain that gives you a minion, but it only works on 1 or less attack. Very good targets include Doomsayer and a lot of the 1-drops, such as Northshire Cleric and Mana Worm before it gets buffed up, right? So this could be pretty interesting when you play Priest and you have Pint-Sized Potion. And of course, if there's like a very big control meta with a lot of Doomsayers, then this can get rid of it, you know? And playing a 2 mana 1/2, while it's really bad, you're really just using this for the effect, right? So I think this does have a chance of being good. You can also use an Outdoor Peacekeeper and kill something immediately. I think this is reasonable. This has, oh, you can also kill Acolyte with this, Acolyte of Pain, and you can also combo this with Marin the Fox on all classes because the treasure chest has 1 or less attack. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually get the value out immediately with Scorpomatic. So I think this could be a player. I think I'm gonna give this 1 star. I think this is actually, oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna give this 2 stars there are some combos that make this work out, and as a standalone card, this could work in some metas as well, with the control meta of the Doomsayers and Acolyte. So this has potential. And finally, we have Shrieking Shroom. It's 3 mana 1/2 that at the end of the turn summons a random 1 cost minion. I think this one's way too small. And it's also at the end of the turn, so you don't get the minion immediately to buff it up. I think this one sucks. I think this is a 0. Onwards to the epics. We have Carnivorous Cube. 5 mana 4/6 that battlecry destroys a friendly minion, and then when it dies, you summon 2 copies of it. Very, very cool card in Death Rattle decks, because you actually the minion you destroy gets 2 more copies. So at the end of the day, you get 3 copies of the card that you killed, right? Also interesting to note that if you play a naked Carnivorous Cube, you can also resurrect it with N'Zoth, because it is a Death Rattle minion, even though it doesn't gain Death Rattle necessarily. So there's a little bit more of a synergy there. I think this is pretty reasonable. The fact that you could get blown up by Silence or Polymorph or Hex effects and stuff like that doesn't really matter, I think, because if you're playing against those decks, you're not gonna Carnivorous Cube one of your good cards, right? You're gonna be playing around that. And a 5 mana 4/6 is not that bad either. I think this could be pretty good. You could use this with Barnes and actually destroy a 1/1 copy of something and then summon 2 copies of the real something. Man, this is like, there's a lot of potential of this card, but at the end of the day, I think it's still very hard to use correctly. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 1 star. I don't think it's gonna work out as well as it should, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this 1 star. I just don't think this is going to be good enough. I guess you can use it on eggs, but egg is not a thing, dude. Yeah, 1 star, 1 star. Okay, 1 star. Rummaging Kobold is a 3 mana 1/3 that draws you a weapon when one of your destroyed weapons. So it's interesting that you can actually draw any weapon in the game now. You can actually put like Ashbringer, or you can actually put like any of the Death Knight weapons in your hand. But it's a 3 mana 1/3 that does this. I think it's like super slow. You don't want to exactly draw a weapon and play it for its mana cost. I think this is just bad, so it's 0 star. Spiteful Summoner is a 6 mana 4/4 that reveals a spell from your deck, and then you summon a random minion with the same cost. I think this is really good. I think this is going to be a big player in control decks, because a 6 mana 4/4 that gives you a free Forbidden Shaping based on the spell you're running is really, really strong. Like, there are some decks that you just really want to just really break this, right? Like, Control Priest pops up to mind. You're running FFAs. You can even run Mind Control. You're running Dragonfire Potions, and they get a random big dude. This is like really good, and it's not just Priest, right? You can play in Mage. You can play even in Warrior, because they have the new Unidentified Shield. Sure, you have to play like Execution Shield Slams in that deck, but the fact that you can high roll this makes it that you can actually just break the game somehow. You can even use it in Druid, right? Or even in Paladin, where you have Spike Steed, Dino Size. I think this card has a lot of potential. I think this is actually a very good common, even though it's a bit random. It has 2 random effects, right? It's random spell and then the random minion with the cost. But I think the stat line is definitely there. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think this is really powerful, even though it's really expensive. Next we have Grand Archivist, 8 mana 4/7. At the end of the turn, you cast a random spell from your deck with targets chosen randomly. This is trash. Like, you don't want to cast random spells from your deck, and even if you do, you don't want to have random targets. No, this is just trash. 0. Arcane Tyrant. This is a 5 mana 4/4 that is a 0 mana 4/4 if you cast a spell that costs 5 or more this turn. This is actually really good, because control decks need a lot of tempo, right? Like, that's the main problem of control decks, is that they struggle putting on the board sometimes. And this might even see play in a lot of mid-range decks, right? Imagine if you're playing against a Mage and they play Firelands Portal, right? And then they play 2 of these, because these are elementals, right? This still works in like elemental decks. So I think this is really powerful, especially in Elemental Mage. I could also see this in you know, decks that really go over the top, like Handlock, right? You can just wipe the board and then play Arcane Tyrant. Anything that costs 0 or has the potential to cost 0 has a big chance to break the game. So I'm gonna give Arcane Tyrant a very generous 4 stars. I think this is gonna work. The people are just gonna find deck lists that make this work out. Just cards that cost 0 can break the game. Evolve decks will want to use this too. Next we have Dragon Hatcher. It's a 9 mana 2/4. At the end of your turn, recruit a dragon. Now this would seem really unplayable because why would you play a 9 mana 2/4 ever, right? But this has a lot of applications actually in Constructed. First one is that you can actually rig your deck so that the dragons you pull out are always going to be good, right? You don't have to play the shitty dragons. You can just play, you know, your big dragons like Izera. You can play, you know, the new 4/12 Taunt, which is the best target to get out to protect Dragon Hatcher from, you know, weapons and cards that kill it, right? I think the main reason you want to play this though is because of the new legendary that we're gonna get to later, Master O card. There's gonna be a lot of wicked combos because it's a 9 mana 2 attack creature that is going to break this card. I think this is gonna work out really well. You can also cheat this onto the board with Barnes. I think there's gonna be ways to make this work out. I think this. I'm gonna give this a 3 stars. I think this would be one of the combo pieces in your O card decks. Void Ripper is a 3 mana 3/3 demon that casts Confuse. Like Confuse was never a card that got played, and if you attach a 3 mana 3/3 body to it, it gets a lot better, obviously. And of course, there are some board states that this would be really good against. Such as against Shaman, you basically nuke their board out of all the totems. Against Doomsayers, if you have a lot of high health minions, you can just basically give them all Inner Fire and win that turn. I think this is just a pure tech card. I don't think this is going to be any more than that. People are going to play good cards in Constructed, and most good Constructed cards have the same attack and health. Like if you think about it, right? So I think I'm gonna be very generous and give this 1 star. I think this is just a pure tech card. Shimmering Courser is a 4 mana 3/3 beast that has hexproof. Only you can target this with spells and hero powers. So obviously you want to buff this up, and then your opponent can't really interact with it. This can be actually really good against certain decks, right? Like imagine buffing this with like Spiker Steed and you're playing against Rogue. Like they're just gonna cry, right? There's like no way they can actually. Okay, wait, they have Vile Spine Slayer. Okay, what if you're against like Priest? Then they have no way of killing this. Yeah, I guess there are some classes that can't really deal with this. At the end of the day, you still need 2-card combo, right? There are way better 2-card combos in the game that are better separately, right? This really sucks if you can't buff it up. Like, it's a 4 mana 33. You would never want to play a 4 mana 33. It dies to every single weapon in the game. And it also dies to every single minion in the game. So, I'm not going to be pretty happy with this. Even if you buff it up, I think there's multiple ways of dealing with this. Oh yeah, like, Priest can even Psychic Scream it away. So, there's just ways to deal with this, man. I don't like it. I'm going to give this 1 star. I'm gonna give this 1 star. And finally, we have Corridor Creeper. It's a 7 mana 5/5 that costs 1 less whenever a minion dies while this is in your hand. This has potential once again to be really strong. Yeah, it could cost 0. It's really good in decks that trade a lot or even AoE a lot. And you can just dump a 5/5. This is really strong in Evolve as well because you get an 8-drop, and 8-drops are known to be really, really good Evolve targets. This is also really good if you play Warlock because you can play a 0 mana 5/5 and Shadow Flame it immediately. Reminds me kind of like Molten Giants. So Corridor Keeper is a pretty good card in that case. Like even aggro might play this because they trade so much. Because like why would you be unhappy if you play like a 3 mana 5/5, right? This is a pretty good card. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 4 stars. I think this is really strong. Alright, and finally, the neutral legendaries. First of all, we have Marin the Fox. It's an 8 mana 6/6 that summons a 0/8 chest for your opponent. Of course, the treasures make it so that your late game becomes very, very insane. We have seen Marin already because it was released a little bit earlier than the rest of the expansion to tease us with this effect. It really didn't work out. Control decks found out that this wasn't really that good. In the meta with Bone Mare and Scalebane, the treasure chest is actually really bad against you. So this didn't really work out, and I don't think any of the new cards make Marin actually work out either. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Marin a 0 stars. I don't think this is a card you want to play in control decks. There are so many better cards that you can do. You can choose from. Zola the Gorgon, 3 mana 2/2 that copies a minion and puts it into your hand. There are ways to make this work out. I don't think this is as good as Shadowcaster though, because Shadowcaster gives you a 1 mana copy of whatever minion you get, and it activates combo effects much better. This doesn't do that, and this gives you the straight copy. I'm very skeptical of this working. So I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna give this a 0 stars. The fact that you have to pay full price for the copy means that you're effectively just facelessing a card into your hand. And that's not what Constructed is about. We have King Tawaggle, 8 mana 5/5 that swaps decks with your opponents. It give them a 5 mana spell that trades their deck back. Now, this is actually pretty troll, because if you swap your opponent's deck, your opponent might be forced to play the ransom immediately because they need to draw from their own deck. And if you keep on drawing from their deck, then they don't get to quest mage you, or they don't get to finish, you know, their plan of killing you with like savage roars and stuff like that. So this is very trolly. At the end of the day, I still don't see this working. It's an 8 mana 5/5. And if your opponent does ransom immediately, then sure, you get to skip, you get to kill one of their card draws because they draw one of your cards. But then you're gonna put good cards in your deck too, right? So I don't think this is gonna work out. I think this is 0. Master Oakheart is a 9 mana 5/5 with Battlecry, recruit a 1, 2, and 3 attack minion. Now, I think this card is bonkers. This card can actually break the game. Let's just go and say that I'm gonna give this 6 stars right now, and I'm gonna give this the award of best neutral legendary in the game. This is really good. The fact that there are so many 1 attack minions that don't cost cheap, right? Such as all the tar stuff, makes that the one slot really good. There's also the 2 attack slot, which is like reasonable, right? There's a lot of class cards that have 2 attack, but if you want some neutral ones, there's Skilled Nightmare. There's also Dirty Rat, which is a very good card against combo decks. So yeah, there's a lot, and 3 attack is just ridiculous, right? 3 attack, there's gonna be so many options. The fact that it's 1 card that puts 4 minions onto the battlefield and they have immediate effects, and they can also combo and break the game, is utterly ridiculous. Okay, there's a combo right now that I can think of is Drakari Enchanter, the card that makes it so that at the end of turn effects trigger twice. And then what if you play that with Dragon Hatcher? And what if you also play like copies of Skilled Nightmare? And then you also play like Tar Creepers and stuff. Yeah, this card is so good. This card is just bonkers. 6-star card. If you pull this out of your deck, congratulations. You get to craft more cards that cost 1, that have 1, 2, or 3 attack. This is just gonna be really good. Just you wait, okay? I'm gonna be making the best Master Oakhearts deck when the expansion comes out. And finally, there's the Darkness for 4 mana. It's a 4 mana 20/20 that starts off not existing on the battlefield, and as soon as your opponent draws 3 candles that you shuffle from this minion into your opponent's deck, then this becomes a 20/20. Now, I don't even know if this is gonna be a thing. Is Mill going to play this card? I just don't see this happening, because if you mill during your turn, this 20/20 is gonna have summoning sickness, right? It's not gonna be able to attack. You have to kind of like have it so that they draw this card at their turn, and then you ambush them with a 20/20. And a 20/20 isn't even that good. Like, imagine your opponent saps this, and they do it again. Like, what if your opponent just Shadow Word Deaths it? Or, like, Aldors it? I don't like this card. This card is shit, dude. I think this is terrible. This is gonna be 0. So, it's kind of interesting that all the legendaries suck except for Master Oakheart, which is, like, insane. So, pretty excited for Master Oakheart. And now that we saw all the neutral cards, let's move on to the class cards and also evaluate the class decks. Alright, starting with Warrior. We're gonna go in reverse order to spice it up. Oh yeah. Alright, so for each class, we're gonna rate the legendary weapon and legendary minion first, and then we're gonna talk about the other cards, and then talk about the archetypes. So, Warrior has Woe Cleaver. It's an 8 mana 3/3 weapon that after your hero attacks, recruit a minion. So I think this is really slow. And the fact that if you play big Warrior, you don't want to cheat them out into play at 8 mana. Like 8 mana is like whatever, dude. By turn 8, your opponent is going to have answers, or you're gonna be dead already. So I don't think Woe Cleaver is a good legendary card, and I don't think you want to play this. You just probably just want to play, you know, stuff like Barnes instead. So I just don't think Woe Cleaver is gonna be good. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 0. I don't think it's good. Next we have Geosculptor Yip as the legendary minion for Warriors. 8 mana 4/8 with at the end of your turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor. Now this one is a little spicy because we're gonna see a lot of cards that gain you a lot of armor in Warrior. And this effectively is like a bigger Spiteful Summoner. Yeah, it's like the Spiteful Summoner from neutral that actually procs at the end of every turn as long as your opponent doesn't kill it, right? I don't think that getting armor is going to be hard when you're going to be playing a Yip deck. So I think this has potential to be good in a Control Warrior shell. So I'm going to give this 2 stars. The reason I'm giving this 2 stars is because Control Warrior might not even play this. Like, it's an option. Alright, onwards to Unidentified Shield. 6 mana for 5 armor, and it can either give you a Arcanite Reaper, it can either give you a 5/5, it can give you 10 additional armor, or it can deal 5 damage. It basically gains 1 effect when you draw it into your hand. Now, this reminds me a lot of Shield Maiden. It's kind of like a mid-game play where you're gaining some armor and then you're getting some board control, right? It's pretty much like a Shield Maiden in Constructed. The fact that it is random is a little awkward. Sometimes you don't really get the effect you want, but the fact that it gains you armor means that it interacts with all the other armor cards. So I think Unidentified Shield is a good Control Warrior card. I think most Control Warriors will run this card. So I think this one is a 3-star card. Gem-Studded Golem is a 6 mana 5/9 taunt that can only attack if you have 5 or more armor. So you're basically playing Ancient of War that can pretty much attack, because if you're gonna play this in a Control Warrior shell, you're gonna be able to gain armor. So I think this is pretty strong. It's not like when you have a card that's played a lot in those control decks and you get a discount on top of that, then they're just gonna be good. So I think this is actually gonna be insane. And for example, if Zoo and Hunter is gonna get popular, then this is just gonna gum up the board and your opponent can't actually hit it. I think this is gonna be a thing. We're gonna give this 4 stars. It's actually really, really good. And the fact that it can usually attack when you're playing this archetype means that it's just a 6 mana 5/9 taunt, which is really powerful. Kobold Barbarian is a 3 mana 4/4 Smorg card at the start of your turn, attack a random enemy. I don't think this is ever going to be C play. The fact that it is a random target means that you're not going to kill the stuff you want sometime. Sure, you can ignore taunt and go face, but aggro warrior is Pirate Warrior, and Pirate Warriors have much better options than this. I mean, Bloodsail Cultist is just so much more powerful, and as a pirate tag, this doesn't have any tag, and this just does whatever it wants, so 0 stars. Gather Your Party recruits a minion for 6 mana. Now, this one you can actually cheat some big stuff a little bit earlier on, right? There's obviously your typical Ysera and your Lich King that you can play on 6, and that's pretty good. So, if you can craft a deck that really puts on a big pressure card on turn 6, then that's pretty good. But otherwise, it's really awkward because Barnes is just better, right? Like, This effect is like really powerful. You're like kind of cheating the mana curve. But I still think this is going to be a little awkward. You could play the new Dragon Catcher or the Dragon Hatcher and play some dragons as well so that you increase the number of recruits that can pop up. So like Dragon Warrior might be a thing in that case. I think this has a little potential. I'm gonna give this 2 stars. The fact that you can abuse mechanics like this could make it pretty powerful. Lesser Mythos Spellstone. It's a 7 mana Spellstone. So it's the new Spellstone series that gets better if you're holding it in your hand and you do its quest. It's a mini quest, right? For warriors, you get a 5/5. And every time you equip a weapon, you get to move it to the next mode, which is 2 5/5s for the second mode, and then 3 5/5s for the last mode. Now, there's a lot of stats for the last mode. Like 7 mana make 15 worth of stats is pretty damn good. Equipping weapons in Warrior is going to be super easy as well. This also works on your Death Knight, because Death Knight equips a weapon. I think this is pretty good in a Control Warrior shell. Like, 7 mana play 15 worth of stats. And while you have a lot of armor, it means that you could probably just stabilize the board. And you also put in a lot of stuff. I think Mythos Spellstone is okay. Reminds me a little bit of Bone Mare. It's like a Bone Mare for warriors. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think it's pretty good. Dry Whisker Armor is a 2 mana 2/2 that gives you 2 armor for each enemy minion when you play it. I think this card is insanely good. Armor is exactly what you want, and we're gonna see for our next card why you want so much armor. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I think against the decks that don't really work, so if you're playing against a control deck or a combo deck, then it's like a 2 mana 2/2, so whatever, you're just playing a card to establish a board. There are so many ways to make this card work out, and yeah, this is gonna be really, really good. And we see why now. Reckless Flurry is one of those cards that rewards you for gaining armor. It's a 3 mana card that spends all your armor, so hopefully you don't overkill yourself too much, but you get to deal damage to all minions. Now, this is really powerful, right? So you can actually do Dry Whisker Armor and do Reckless Flurry, and that actually wipes the board. And some would say that, oh yeah, that's a 2-card combo, that's really bad. Why would you want to play 2 cards when you're just getting like a Twisting Nether effect? I'm gonna say that that's pretty good, because that's kind of like Molten Giant Shadowflame, right? It's literally reaching to that point where it's Molten Giant Shadowflame. And the fact that you can actually split them apart means that they are even better, right? Like combo cards that you can play separate to themselves will always be good. So Reckless Flurry will actually make... If Control Warrior ever becomes a thing, it will be because of Reckless Flurry. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think this is really, really powerful, and going to be found in pretty much all the Control Warrior decks. And the other card that rewards you for having a lot of armor is Bladed Gauntlet. It's a 2 mana 0/2 weapon that has attack equal to your armor, but it cannot attack heroes. So what this basically says is you get to play 2 shield slams in one, and then you take some damage, right? Like, this is actually super powerful as well when you gain a lot of armor, because 2 mana for 2 shield slams is a very, very good deal. This is a 4-star card. And like basically Bladed Gauntlet combined with Reckless Flurry will make it so that you have a lot of shield slams and a lot of AoE in a class that otherwise doesn't really have good AoE, and removal is a little bit awkward sometimes. So yeah, Control Warrior is basically what this expansion is pushing. I think Pirate Warrior is still going to be a thing because Pirate Warrior cards are not rotating out, you know, there's aggro decks will always make a comeback in a sense. But the 2 epic cards that warriors are getting means that Control Warrior might be a thing. Quest Warrior might be a thing. Yeah, Quest Warrior might make a comeback too, because you get all these taunts, and now you have all these armors and all these over-the-top cards that can just make it so that your opponent can't attack you, and then you complete your quest, and then you blow your opponent out with your hero power, right? So yeah. So let's keep an eye out for Quest Warrior and Control Warrior. Alright, next we have Warlock. Warlock is getting some juicy cards in this expansion. Starting with Skull of the Manari is a 5 mana 0/3 weapon that at the start of your turn, you summon a demon from your hand. This is actually pretty strong. A lot of people do not like this card because they go like, oh, well, your opponent just oozes it and you don't do anything for 5 mana. Yeah, sure. The thing is, this is a very powerful effect, okay? It's a 5 mana card that basically summons a demon for free every single turn. Well, if you play Skull of the Monarch, you're gonna play the Demon Lock deck, and then you want to basically establish your demons ASAP so that you can get Skull River Gul'dan and revive all the demons immediately. And then you're gonna be playing a lot of demons as well, right? There's a lot of demons that are introduced in this specific expansion. So I think Skull of the Monarch does actually have a lot of potential. If you pull out a Doomguard, you can attack immediately with it. And control Warlocks don't mind being a little bit slow because they have a lot of AoEs anyways. So I think Skull of the Monarch is actually good. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think it's not insane, but I think it's going to be a consideration when you play Demon Lock. Next up, we have Rin the First Disciple. 6 mana, 3/6 taunt with Death Rattle. Add the first seal to your hand. So the seals are a collection of spells that summons demons. So the first one summons a 2/2, and then a 3/3, and so on. They all cost 5 mana. And when you play 5 seals, you get to add Azari the Devourer into your hand, where when you play it, it's a 10 mana 10/10 that destroys your opponent's deck. Now, Azari is obviously really strong, and when you play Azari, you're gonna win the game. However, you gotta play 41 mana in order to play Azari, which is technically a big ask. But then we remember that you can actually cheat this out pretty well, right? So there's Blood Bloom that actually cheats mana as well. The fact that Warlocks have so much AoE means that you can just play the seals until your opponent plays a big board, and then you can just AoE the board afterwards and then continue on doing your seals. Cho'Gall is not a combo of this. You do not want to play Cho'Gall with this because instead of playing 5 mana, you're paying 7 mana. And you're just getting a 7/7. So no, Cho'Gall is not going to be a consideration for the seals. I think Rin has some potential at the end of the day because Azari the Devourer is so powerful. So if you make it like a super control deck and you resolve Azari, then you can just win. So I'm going to give Rin a 3 stars. I think this does... There would be a deck that runs a lot of AoEs and a lot of removal and just runs Rin and perhaps another control finisher and then just like beats your opponent that way. Alright, onwards to the commons. We have Kobold Librarian for Warlocks. It's a 1 mana 2/1 that draws a card, but it deals 2 damage to a hero. This is utterly ridiculous, right? You play this in Zoo because it's a 1 mana 2/1 draw card. You play this in a Demon Lock because it's a 1 mana 2/1 draw card. And then you also play this in Demon Lock or Hand Lock because it's a 1 mana 2/1 draw card, right? The fact that it deals 2 damage to a hero is actually a good thing because we're gonna see later there's a Spellstone that actually works really well with this effect. So it's not even a bad thing to deal 2 damage to heroes. It might even be a good thing. I just think this card is bonkers. It's an easy 5-star card. This just belongs in every single Warlock deck, basically. The fact that it replaces itself means that you're playing a 28 card deck in a sense, right? And if you're playing a 28 card deck, you can draw your combo pieces faster. You can draw your kill spells faster. Yeah, it's gonna be an all-star card. Next we have Vulgar Homunculus, 2 mana 2/4 taunt, so it's above the curve. It's a demon, and it once again has the deal 2 damage to hero clause as well. This is also really, really good. The fact that you're playing an overcosted 2-drop as taunt means that once again you can play this in Zoo and protect your other guys and you're pretty happy. You can also play this in control because you know you can revive it with Gul'dan because it's a taunt, it's a demon, so it protects your face as well. And you can actually protect your other boards as well. It helps you against aggro. 4 health is really hard to deal with. So once again, this is really good. This is 4 stars. Really, really good card. Dark Pact is a 1 mana card that destroys a friendly minion that restores 8 health to your hero. This has some functions in Constructed because it's a 1 mana heal 8, which is really, really powerful. Restoring health to your hero can never be shrugged off, especially when you play a Warlock that really likes to life tap. It activates some Death Rattle cards, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's the best use of this. The best use of this is just to restore 8 health. You can use this in combination with Corrupting Mist. Corrupting Mist is a very good card. when you just want to stall the board out, and when you corrupting miss your own minion, it kind of feels bad. Well, why not just kill it and restore 8 health anyways? This card also lets you tap more, so you can find your combo pieces faster. I think overall this is fine, but at the same time, you might not even you might not even have it in your deck, but it's a good consideration. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this 2 stars. I think it's a good card that, you know, like it's a consideration basically. The Warlock Spellstone is it costs 4 mana. It has lifesteal and it deals either 3, 5, or 7 damage. Those are the upgrade patterns. And to upgrade it, you need to take damage from your cards. So you can't life tap to upgrade this, but you can play any of the new you know, minions that deal damage to yourself. You can also, you know, play Hellfire, you know, Dread Inferno, Abyssal Enforcer, all those cards work. This card is ridiculous. The fact that you can upgrade this so easily, and the fact that it's a 4 mana, deals 7 damage to a minion and heal for 7, is just out of this world. This is a very easy 5 stars. Even though Zoo is not gonna use this, all the mid-range and control decks is just gonna drool over this, like all over this. This is actually one of the more ridiculous spellstones in the game, and yeah, you're just gonna be super happy with the spellstone. Plus, it kills a 4 mana 7/7 for 4 mana. And it also restores 7 health to your face. Possessed Lackey is a 5 mana 2/2 with Death Rattle, Recruit a Demon. I think if you're going to be playing a demon deck, you don't need to force this out. So this card might be found in a cheese deck. And what I mean by cheese deck is that you'll only be playing 2 Doom Guards and 2 of the new Void Lords that we're gonna see later. So you just want to cheat those out, right? If you're playing a Demon Lock deck, then you're gonna be playing some other demons, and if you draw one of those demons, that's gonna be pretty bad. So Possessed Lucky is pretty cheesy. At the end of the day, I think this has potential. You can just like fix your deck so that this always kind of makes it work for you. But I think overall, the cheese Warlock deck is not going to be as good as all the other Zoo archetypes, right? Like, Control Lock is going to be pretty good, like the Handlock deck. Demon Lock is going to be good, and Zoo Lock is going to be good. So I think those Warlock decks is just going to be better than whatever you play this in. So I'm going to give this a 1-star card. The fact that it only works when it dies is also a problem. So a delayed effect is not really that good. Next we have Hooked Reaver. It's a 4 mana 4/4 demon that has a battle cry. If you have 15 or less health, it becomes a 7/7 taunt. This is a very good card as well in your control decks, because you're playing a 4 mana 7/7 that has taunt and is a demon. Very, very powerful, and it's not going to be hard to get down to 15 health. I think this actually might see the most play in Zoo Lock decks, because they're going to tap so much and they're going to deal so much damage to their own face now that you have Flame Imp with the 2 new cards that deal damage to yourself. So I think Hooked Reaver is going to be an all-star again. I think this is going to be 5-star card. Like, this is ridiculous. Doesn't even have Overload, right? Obviously, it comes back as a 4/4 if you play the Death Knight from Warlock. But the fact that you get a 4 mana 7/7 is already ridiculous. Yeah, this is 5 stars. Very, very strong card. Next up, we have Void Lord. It's a 9 mana 3/9 demon with taunt, and then when it dies, you summon 3 Void Walkers, so it basically splits into 3. This is going to be a very, very annoying card for your opponent to deal with. It is 9 mana, so it's a big ask, but if this actually does die, your opponent is you're gonna have so much time. And then imagine if you resurrect this with you know, the Death Knight, right? It's gonna be really good. You can also cheat this out with the legendary weapon, which is really strong. Obviously, if you run into Sap or Polymorph effects, it's going to be pretty weak. I think this is a reasonable card that you might want to include in your deck. The best way to use this card is to use it with Oakmaster, because you can cheat this out because it's a 3 attack minion at 9 mana. So once again, Oakmaster is just going to warp the format so much, because every time you see a 1, 2, or 3 attack minion that's really, really high costed, you're going to go like, wow, I can actually use this. So I think Void Lord has a lot of potential, and it's really good when you when in like those control shells. So I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I think Void Lord is gonna be pretty strong. Next we have Cataclysm. For 4 mana, you destroy all minions and discard your hand. Zulus don't mind discarding their hands, but they don't want to destroy all minions. And control decks really want to destroy all minions, but they don't want to discard their hand. So I think this is very not well positioned at all. You could use this with Silverware Golems, and then at the end of the day, you get 2 Silverware Golems. You could use this with the discard Warlock quest. So you can discard your whole hand, and then you can make the quest work, and then you can summon the portal. But Quest Warlock was never meant to really be a thing. I think the best way to use this is if you have Malkasar's Imp. So if you play Malkasar's Imp and you play Cataclysm, you lose your Malkasar's Imp, but you get to replace your hand. I feel like this is kind of a meme card. I mean, it's gonna be pretty hard for it to make it work out. There are obviously some cards that make this work, like Silverware Golem. There's also Clutch Mother Zavas. There's also the Quest Lock. But I think overall, I don't think this is gonna be that good. So I'm gonna give this 1 star. Yeah, I'm gonna give this 1 star. So overall, Warlock's got a lot of good cards. I'm looking forward to playing Demon Lock quite a bit. There are some very strong demons, and there's also some very strong cards for Zulok. I think Warlock is gonna be really, really good. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the legendary weapon for Shamans. The Rune Spear. It's an 8 mana 3/3. After a hero attacks, discover a spell and cast it with random targets. I don't think this is good and constructed at all. It's an 8 mana 3/3 weapon, so that's already pretty bad. And you're discovering a spell that pretty much just wipes the board or draws you some cards or whatever. I think this is trash. This is 0 stars. Grumble World Shaker is a 6 mana 7/7 elemental. Bounces all your minions and make them all cost 1. So they can replay all the battle cries and everything. This is actually pretty good and constructed. So yeah, this card would be very good in your typical Shaman decks, right? Like the Shaman decks that run Jade Golems with battle cries, so you can bounce all your Jade Spirits and all your Jade Guardians back, would be really good. You can also bounce your Bone Mares back if you're playing the, you know, the buff tempo deck that Shamans play. So there is already a lot of good combos that you can play already with Grumble. And of course, we'll see that there's gonna be a new totem shaman archetype that makes it so that bouncing your basic totems is gonna be a thing as well. So Grumble would be a 4-star card. I don't think it's actually just an insane card, but it should work out pretty well. And now we have Kobold Hermits. 2 mana 1/1 with battle cry. Choose a basic totem and summon it. This is actually really strong because 2 mana 1/1 making 2 bodies is already really good, and the fact that you can force out a spell power totem, which is probably going to be the default choice when you play this card, is going to be pretty powerful. It also makes it so that you can choose a basic totem you're missing, hint hint, on the card that's coming up, and you can also double up on cards, so you can actually summon another spell power totem if you already have a spell power totem on the board. So, you know, makes your Maelstrom portals and everything much better. So yeah, Kobold Hermit's a good card. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 3 stars. I think this is gonna be a good card and a serious contender. Next we have Crushing Hand. For 2 mana, you get to deal 8 damage to a minion, but you overload for 3 mana. 2 mana destroy something basically is a very, very good deal. Obviously you have to overload for 3, but if you're playing this in a very tempo-based shaman deck and you just want to go face a lot, then you're basically extending the turn you're establishing your minions a little bit faster. So I think this is a good card, and I think Temple Shamans would actually consider this. This might even be better than Hex in those kind of decks. So yeah, I think the Fizz gets the 4 stars. Healing Rain is a 3 mana spell for Shamans. It restores 12 health divided amongst all friendly characters. I think there are way better ways to actually make this work. I can only see this in Malygos, Malygod Shaman, where you're just basically living and you just Malygod. But I don't think that's going to be a deck. I think other Shaman decks is just going to be better. I'm going to give this 1 star, but it's still very fringe. And I think it only works in like Malygod decks and stuff like that. Tides of Time is probably going to make a deck with this or something. But by itself, it's not a card that you want to consider in Constructed. Even if you're playing against aggro, there are much better options. Next, we have the Shaman Spellstone. Summons a copy of a friendly minion. Once you overload 3 mana crystals, it upgrades to summon 2 copies, and the final version is summon 3 copies of a friendly minion. I really don't see this happening in normal circumstances. I think the only way to make this work is that if you somehow use Grumble, and then make it so that, I don't know, your Alakir costs 1, and then you copy Alakir 3 times, then you can make a weird OTK deck of it. Because overloading and control is really good, right? Usually control decks have overload. So maybe that's how you want to do it. You can also use it with any of the 0 mana minions. So the worm that's gonna come out, Arcane Tyrant or Arcane Giant, all the arcane stuff, you can summon a lot of copies of them. But it is a pretty big ask that this card costs 7. So you need to play stuff that don't cost anything in order to play the Spellstone. I wouldn't shrug it off, but I think it's gonna be very, very difficult to make this work. I'm gonna give the Spellstone 2 stars. I think this is not unreasonable. It can make an archetype of its own. Primal Talismans is a 3 mana Spirit Echo that pretty much makes all your minions summon basic totems when they die. Yeah, this is just trashy. So this is 0. You don't want your minions to leave behind basic totems when they die. Murmuring Elemental is a 2 mana 1/1 elemental with Battlecry. Your next Battlecry this turn triggers twice. Now, at first I thought that this was really shitty because like this is a worse Bran, right? Like Bran works on all your battle cries and also stays on the board so that you can actually pressure your opponent to kill that. And also this is not really a real 2-drop. And also I think it's really shitty as well because if you play this and just one other battle cry, for example, if you're Murmuring and then you play something like Kalimos or something, then you just get an extra battle cry, and I don't like that. I think that's still really, really bad. And even if you play in like a Jade Shaman deck, you just get an extra J-Com. That's not good. As we know, this card doesn't work when you play 2 copies of it, right? So if you play Murmuring Elemental into Murmuring Elemental, the battle cries obviously do not stack because brands do not stack. So you can't actually make that work. The best way to use this is with the Shaman Death Knight card. The fact that it can evolve twice. Now that one is twice because the Shaman DK evolves 2 times, right? So then you're evolving 4 times. That might actually be a thing. So you can play, you know, Murmuring Elemental into the Shaman DK and improve your board insanely. This becomes like a 6-drop. So that's pretty good. But other than that, I don't think it's gonna work out. I'm gonna give Murmuring Elemental a 2 stars now, just because it works with the Shaman DK. But otherwise, I think it's just crap. Windshear Stormcaller is a 5 mana 5/5 that summons Alakir the Windlord if you control all 4 basic totems. A lot of people don't like this card because they go like, it's very hard to control 4 totems. It's gonna be unplayable. It's a 5 mana 5/5. No, I think it's actually really good especially against control, because in control, back in the days where Shaman was playing against Warrior, Shamans just played totem up every single turn. And then they would play Bloodlust, and then they would win the game, right? Because it's really hard to kill all these totems. And the fact that you can actually summon more totems now with Kobold Hermit, you can just, you know, force the issue. I think Windshear Stormcaller is actually gonna be good. So I think this has a lot of potential in the right meta. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Finally, we have Unstable Evolution. It's a 1 mana evolve that only targets one of your minions. So it evolves them, but after you cast it, you get another copy, and you get infinite copies until you end your turn. This card is insane. This is better than evolve because you can cast this and stop whenever you want. And then if you get something like a Sorcerer's Apprentice or Radiant Elemental from evolving your totem, you can actually infinitely play this for the rest of the turn. This also breaks some cards like Auctioneer, because if you cast this infinite amount of times, you can draw infinite amount of cards. Sure, you're limited by mana crystals, but drawing so many cards is just ridiculous, right? People might even start playing Questing Adventure with this. And then obviously, for every Unstable Evolution you play, Yogg-Saron gets a charge. So Yogg-Saron might make a super comeback in Shaman. I think this is a 5-star card. I think this is a really, really strong card. Oh! You can also play this with things that trigger other spells, like Arcane Giant as well. Yeah, there's just a lot of ways to abuse infinite spell casts. Yeah, overall, Shaman's got a few elementals that could be really good. And then there's a lot of weird cards, like the Totem deck that might be a thing. But I think overall, Shamans are just going to be a good tempo deck. Again. now we're going on to Rogue. Rogue has King's Bane for the legendary weapon. It's a 1 mana 1/3 that shuffles it into your deck when it dies, so when you use it up, and then it keeps any enchantments on it. I think this card is definitely a little overrated. I think it's really good if you can like buff it up, but the fact that if you buff it up means that you have to draw it again. It also means that it's only a singleton, right? Like Kingsbane is only a single card. There is a comment that helps this out for you to draw the card that we can see later. But other than that, I think Kingsbane is a liability most of the time. You really want to hit face of Kingsbane for it to work out well. So you need to buff this weapon a lot. And there's not a lot of good weapon buffs right now, at least. There's only Deadly Poison, Corsair. So there really isn't enough stuff. So I'm going to give Kingsbane a 1 star. I don't think it's good enough. Next we have Sonya Shadow Dancer. It's a 3 mana 2/2 legendary that adds a friendly... After a friendly minion dies, you get a 1 mana copy of it that is a 1/1. This is actually just ridiculous. You can actually just wipe any board you want if you have like a single charge minion. So if you play a Haha, or if you play I'm in charge now patches, you can actually keep on charging minions until they all die. Because when you trade, you get to draw the card back. Not to mention you can also use this with any other card. So I think Sonya is a very easy 5-star card. It enables some really ridiculous combos. Next on, we have Kobold Illusionist. It's a 4 mana 3/3 that summons a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand after it dies. Yeah, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is if you have 2 Kobold Illusionists, then it just keeps on multiplying itself. So you basically make your own Death Steed or Dread Steed. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 2 stars. I don't think it's a good card, but I don't think there's a lot of different cards that you want to put in this instead, I guess. Also doesn't work with a lot of good rogue cards. Most of the good rogue cards have Battlecry. Cheat Death is a 2 mana rogue secret, and rogues are getting secret now. They're getting a total of 3, so you have to play around 3. And when a friendly minion dies, it returns to your hand. Costs 2 less. So it's effectively a Shadow Step that you don't have to Shadow Step your own creature. You can just let it die. I don't think that this rogue secret is good enough. Obviously you can play Cheat Death on an empty board and then play Malygos, and then they have to kill Malygos because they can't let it live, and then Malygos is now 7 mana, and now you can just combo more with that. You can also put a lone auctioneer on the board and play Cheat Death, so that's pretty good. Okay, now that I mentioned that, the card actually seems pretty good. If you play this with only 1 minion that you really want to have another copy of, then it's reasonable. So I guess this is okay. Yeah, after my expert analysis on this card and thinking about it, I think this card is okay. I'm gonna give this a 3 stars. I think this is reasonable in a lot of combo decks. Next we have Sudden Betrayal. For 2 mana, it's a secret. When a minion attacks your hero, it instead attacks one of its neighbors. So it only works on minion attacks, and it's exactly like Explosive Trap, which means I think it's really bad. Your opponent can play around this very, very easily, and yeah, it's just stalling for 1 turn. I don't like this card at all. I think this is 0. Next we have Cavern Shiny Finder. 2 mana 3/1 that draws a weapon from your deck. 2 mana 3/1s that draw a card is really, really powerful. And the fact that Shadowblade is still in the in your deck, well, most likely, and you can also force some Kingsbane stuff out, might make this pretty good. So I think just 2 mana 3/1 draw a card is just really, really powerful. So I'm gonna give this like 3 stars. This is pretty powerful. Next we have Elven Minstrel. For 4 mana, you get a 3/2. And combo, if you combo this out, so if you play this, you know, after the first card, you get to draw 2 minions from your deck. Now that is actually insane. 4 mana 3/2 draw 2 cards is just ridiculous. And it's even better than draw 2 cards. You draw 2 minions exactly. So if you want your auctioneer, you can actually fish them out. And because you drew your auctioneers, you have more spells in your deck, so then your auctioneer gets even better. It reminds me of pre-nerf Ancient of Lore. Like, it's just so powerful. You don't even need to play in like a combo auctioneer deck. You can just play it in the normal Scalebane and Bone Mare Tempo Rogue deck, and it's a very good refill. Rogues are not supposed to be good at drawing cards, but Elven Minstrel makes it so that it's really strong. So I think this is a very easy 5-star card. Next we have the Spellstone for Rogue. it's for 5 mana you get a deadly shot, but every time you play 3 Death Rattle cards, you get a deadly shot 1 additional time. So you get 2 deadly shots and you get 3 deadly shots. I don't really think Death Rattle Rogue is going to be a thing, and the fact that it has to be, you have to play the Death Rattle cards means that you can actually summon it from other means. You actually play it from your hand, but it is a really strong effect. The fact that destroying your whole opponent's board for 5 means that it's a one-sided Twisting Nether. So if Death Rattle Rogue is good, it's gonna be because of this card. Yeah, I feel like this is this would be a player, and this might I want to say that this might push Death Rattle Rogue to being good, but I don't really think so. Like, I just don't really think so. Destroying all your opponent's board is really powerful. I'm gonna give this card 3 stars. I think this is a very strong card, and if and you really want to see if Death Rattle Rogues is gonna be a thing, because this just beats up on every single minion based deck. Amaz is buffering. I'm just thinking when I'm looking at this cards, dude. Alright, next up we have Faldorite Strider. For 4 mana you get a 4/4, and then you shuffle 3 ambushes that when you draw them, you get to draw another card, so it replaces itself, and then you get a 4/4 Spider. I think this card is a little too slow for constructed. You don't know when you're getting the 4/4s, and playing a 4 mana 4/4 that doesn't really have a lot of text immediately, it's not really that good. Obviously, if you can go through your deck really fast, then you get to make the value of this card better. But the fact that you're only getting 4/4s is not going to be that good. So I don't think this card is actually going to be a player. It's not really that good. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 1-star card. It's very fringe, and getting 4/4s, while it's good, it doesn't really play into what Rogues want to do. Everybody's lolling. Dude, it's fine. I have my own opinion, okay? That's why you guys are watching the review right now. It's because you want to see cards from the perspective of me, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 1-star. I don't think this is gonna be that good. Next up we have Evasion. For 2 mana, you get after your hero takes damage, you get an Ice Block. So obviously you want to play this not whenever you want. Well, Ice Block you can play whenever you want, right? Because it actually prevents the damage. This one you have to play on the turn you think you're gonna die. So this is actually a bit harder to play. It is a bit cheaper, so that's a good sign. And you know, Miracle Rogues might actually play this, because you know they're just gonna set up OTKs or TTKs, like a 2-turn kill or whatever. And if you play Evasion at the right spot, then yeah, you can actually evade some stuff. Weirdly enough, this does not work against Quest Mage, because they can just ping you or like cast a spell that targets a hero and proc this and then take an extra turn, and then the extra turn you're not immune anymore, because they only become immune this turn and they take an extra turn. But yeah, if there's a good, like, you know, insane OTK card or a deck that Rogue's gonna play with, like Leroy or something, then Evasion's gonna get played, or even Malagos Rogue, you know. So overall, Rogue's got really really wild cards, I guess. There's a lot of secrets that are really weird, but I think Elven Minstrel is gonna make Rogues really, really good. And like Elven Minstrel and Sonya's Shadow Dancer is enough to push Rogue to OP. Next up we have the Priest. Oh baby, what are we gonna see with Priest? Well, first of all, we have the legendary weapon Dragon Soul. For 3 mana, you get, after you cast 3 mana you get an O3 weapon first of all, and then after you cast 3 spells in the turn, you summon a 5/5. So it's a 3 mana 5/5, repeatable. Really good with like your powered shields and your any cantrips you have. I just think this card is not that good right now, at least. Maybe when they make more 1 mana Priest spells that draw more spells, then it can be pretty good. But currently speaking, like, it's a little bit too slow for my liking. A realistic way to make this work is Pint-Sized Potion, Shadow Word Horror, and then cast something like a Power Shield, or to mix something like a Silence into the mix. But then at the same time, how many times can you actually proc this, right? Like a 3 mana 5/5 that you can't play on turn 1 is, the 3 mana 5/5 that you can't play on turn 3 is already not insane. And you have to repeat this for it to be good. So I don't think Dragon Soul is going to be good. I'm going to give this 0 stars for now, and it might be better in new expansions. There is a good combo that I guess you can play Lyra and 2 Radiant Elementals, and you can cast infinite spells and then fill your board with 5/5 dragons, so you get 4 5/5 dragons. But even then, I think it's not really that good either, right? Like, if you have a board of Lyra and 2 Radiant Elementals, you're probably in a very good spot anyways. So, yeah, I think this is pretty bad. Next, we have Temporis. 7 mana 6/6 dragon with where your opponent takes 2 turns. So that's pretty funny. Your opponent gets a free quest mage. And then you take 2 turns. I think this is a very bad card. I just don't see a 2-turn kill that works out when you give your opponent 2 turns. I think the main reason this is in the game, well, is because the designers want to make something cool. And also this nerfs Historian quite a bit. Historian is not going to be discovering a lot of good dragons now because it might discover Temporis. And also the Ebon Bladesmith, the dragon that makes your weapons cost less, and obviously that makes Priest pretty bad. So I think Temporis is a very easy 0 stars. Until someone makes an insane deck of it, and then it'll be 5 stars. But I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. Next up, we have Unidentified Elixir. For 3 mana, you get to give a minion +2/+2, and it gains a bonus effect. So you can either give it Divine Shield as well, you can either summon a 1/1 copy of it, you can give it Lifesteal, or you can give it so that it bounces back to your hand. This is the only Aggro Priest card, I guess, right now, that is not going to get a lot of support. So I don't think Aggro Priest is going to be a thing. Aggro Priest was a thing back way then with Death Speaker, with Undertaker. You can actually put on the board quite a lot, and then you can play My Blast to end the game. But now that all those aggro cards are out and Priest isn't really aggro based, I think this is just going to be found maybe in the Razakus Mage, where, you know, having a +2/+2 and giving something Lifesteal is pretty good in stabilizing. Making a 1/1 copy of something is pretty good, and bouncing something back into your hand is pretty good. Like, Divine Shield is okay, so I think it's really just going to be found in that deck. Obviously, you can break some stuff if you always get the one that summons a 1/1 copy or something, but the fact that it's kind of random makes it so that it might not be good sometimes. So I think it could be a one-of in the Razakus Mage, obviously one of. But I don't think it's going to be found anywhere else after that. I'm going to give this 3 stars, actually. I think it's a very strong card, and I think Razakus Mage, Razakus Priest would actually play this. Why do I keep on saying Razakus Mage? What the frick? Alright, next up we have Psionic Probe. For 1 mana, you get to copy a spell in your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. This is 1 mana cost spell, and 1 mana cost spells are usually pretty good in Priest, because first of all, you can like cycle it with Lyra and Radiant Elemental. Secondly, it procs all your spell matters cards like Priest of the Feast. So even though it looks kind of it just doesn't really do much, it is a 1 mana draw card. So it can't really be that bad. I'm gonna give this 2 stars. I think it has potential, but I think at the end of the day it's still too random. Gilded Gargoyle is a 3 mana 2/2 that Death Rattles adds a coin to your hand. So it's a very small Tomb Pillager, but the fact that you get a coin means that you can trigger those spells again. So if you really want to play Dragon Soul, then there you go. Gilded Gargoyle can help you do that. The main reason to get coins in Priest though is because you can use it with you can use it in Raza Priest, right? It's a coin that you can make it so that you get a free hero power again. So Gilded Gargoyle, I think it's immediately gonna be put into the Razakus Priest deck. You can also use this along with the Lyra package, so control decks might even play this. Getting a coin is actually really powerful. I think this is still fine. Like, at face value, it's like a 2 mana 2/2 because it refunds a mana for you. And technically, it might even be better because it can actually enable some stupid stuff. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Next we have Dustbreaker. 4 mana 3/3 dragon that if you're holding another dragon, it deals 3 damage to all other minions. So it basically hellfires the board. Yeah, this is like ridiculous, right? Obviously. Because yeah, if you're playing Dragon Priest, you either lose against super aggro, where this is good against, or you know, you just beat up on the control decks because you just outvalue your opponent with Secret Agent. So Dustbreaker is ridiculous, obviously. It's a very easy 5-star card. And yeah, this is gonna pretty much what makes Dragon Priest good. Next we have the Spellstone for a priest. It resurrects 2 different friendly minions for 7 mana, and you can cast 4 spells to upgrade it to resurrect 3, and then you can resurrect 4. Casting spells in you can make a spell that basically you can make a big priest deck that can actually take advantage of the Spellstone really, really well, right? For example, you can actually play Barnes, get like whatever, and then like for example get like Ezera or something, right? And then come turn 7 you can actually play Spellstone, and then you can get back Barnes and whatever it resurrected, which is really good, right? There's also like a lot of recursiveness that you can do with Eternal Servitude, right? Like imagine you play Barnes on 4 and then you get a Ezera, and then for the next 2 turns you use Eternal Servitude. So Eternal Servitude, you get Ezera again, and then Eternal Servitude, you get Ezera again, and then you cast some more spells, right? And then you play Spellstone, the second version, and then you resurrect 3 Ezeras. Like that's pretty good, right? So Spellstone is going to be found in Big Priest, I think. It's very easy because you're going to play a lot of small minions, and then you're going to play a lot of spells. So it's going to be easy to upgrade this in a sense. So I think this is pretty powerful. I think Big Priest is going to play this. Man, oh my god. Chat, you guys are actually stupid, okay? It's summon different minions. When you have 3 different Ezeras that died, you summon 3 Ezeras. That's how it works. Why it says different is because you can't rig it, okay? You can't just kill 1 Ezera and then play the last version and then summon 4 Ezeras because only 1 Ezera died, right? Otherwise, you can just play 1 Leroy and then have it die and then summon 4 Leroys. So I think this has a lot of potential. I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think Big Priest is going to actually like this card. Alright, next card we have Twilight's Call. For 3 mana, you summon 2 1/1 copies of Death Rattle minions that died this game. So it's kind of like Lost in the Jungle, but instead it needs your Death Rattle minions to trigger out. So immediately Death Rattle Priest quest comes into mind for this card to be good. And then you can also use like Egg Priest, which is the first deck I built when the Angora expansion came out. So yeah, this can get kind of out of hand if you use this properly. It does proc the quest because it's summon. The priest quest only requires you to summon them and not play them. Twilight's Call is a very interesting interaction with Spirit Singer Umbra, because you can actually play Spirit Singer Umbra and play Twilight's Call and immediately get 2 effects because Umbra actually activates on summon. So there are a little bit of there's a few interesting interactions with Twilight's Call. Could actually bring back N'Zoth Death Rattle Priest. So we have to like keep this in mind. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think we can't shrug this off. But I feel like the Dragon Priest is gonna be so much better. I think this is still a good card, but you're gonna play Dragon Priest more often, I guess. Okay, Psychic Scream is a 7 mana spell card for Priest that shuffles all minions into your opponent's deck. This is a easy 5-star card. Super good. Better than Twisting Nether, and just cheaper as well. So you just get rid of the whole board. You don't proc any Death Rattles, right? And the fact that you shuffle minions into your opponent's deck is actually better than just removing them from the game. Because imagine if you play this against Jade Druid, dude. They're gonna be drawing their Jade Golems. They're gonna be drawing the 2 mana 1/5 taunts of their big grand wall. And man, this is just like ridiculous, right? The only small problem you have to think about is that you need to win the game. When you play Psychic Scream, you're not gonna be able to out-fatigue your opponent. There is just no way, right? So you need to find a way to make it so that you can win the game. Just make sure you have win conditions. But yeah, this is a very easy 5-star card. Utterly insane. Next we have Twilight Acolyte. For 3 mana, you get a 2/4. Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, swap this minion's attack with another minion's. Very powerful card once again, as a 3-drop. Dragon Priest doesn't really have that many 3-drops, I guess. And this one works late game very, very well as well. So what you can do is you can Twilight Acolyte something, and then you can Potion of Madness it. And that works, right? Because it's 2 attack. You can also Twilight Acolyte and Cabal Shadow Priest and just steal anything you want because you change anything into a 2 attack. The ask is that you are holding a dragon, and the fact that this is not a dragon itself is obviously sometimes a problem, because then, you know, the dragon count needs to be pretty high. But then it's overall a very strong card. Just how it works with Potion of Madness makes this really, really good. So I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I think this is really powerful. It also, oh yeah, it also enables Priest to deal 4 attack minions. So 4 mana no longer is too much of a problem for Dragon Priests. Alright, so that's Priest. So overall, Priest got some very, very good cards, and Dragon Priest is going to be insane, Psychic Scream is going to be insane, and Brave Priest is still going to be insane. Next up, we have Paladin. Paladin is getting a very sweet legendary weapon. It is Valinir. For 6 mana, you get a 4/2, and when it dies, you equip this weapon on one of your own minions in your hand. And then when that minion dies, you equip that weapon back into your own face. So it's very recursive. This is a very strong card. For only 2 more mana, you get a True Silver Champion that basically gives a permanent buff to a minion. Now, the stat allocation is really strong because it gives +4/+2. So it's really aggressive. And when you have this sort of effect that you want the minion to kind of die, or you want to put a lot of pressure with the minion, then +4/+2 is really good. So I think this is going to be insane. Obviously, it's not good if your opponent silences it or if they polymorph it or whatever. But the fact that remains that they still have to deal with this. And you still got a 6 mana 4/2 weapon, right? So I think this is going to be just utterly ridiculous. I think this is just going to be an easy 5-star card. Very, very good. How it also equips this immediately after the minion dies means that you don't need to recast this. So it's 6 mana permanent hero power. The hero power is basically, if when your minion dies, you get to equip a 4/2 weapon. And you also get a buff on your minion. This is actually really strong. Yeah, this is going to be an all-star. I don't think you need to be too cheesy with this card. You don't need to play Doppelgangster or Serenade Chain Gang to multiply this. But I think you can. I think there are constructed decks that will actually use that. Because hand buffs still exist in Paladin, right? You still have your Grime Street Outfitter, you still have your Grime Street, you gotta pay up, you still have your Smuggler's Run. So Valinir is gonna be one of those extra hand buffs that makes this really powerful. So yeah, I think this is great. Next up, we have Lynessa Sunsorrel. 7 mana 1/1 with Battle Cry. Cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. So we basically duplicate all your buffs onto Lynessa when you play her from your hand. I think this is also pretty good. A lot of people actually laugh at this because, oh yeah, it gets silenced, it gets turned to 1/1, and it's really bad. And that is true because there are some cards where it buffs something, so like Bone Mare, and if they silence the Bone Mare target, you still get a 5/5, right? This is much more high risk because if they silence this, you get a 1/1 instead, and that's actually terrible. So yeah, and also it's only one body, so polymorph and hex and stuff like that is actually makes it even worse. So obviously, this card doesn't work. If your opponent saps this, it doesn't multiply, right? Because it says cast each spell you cast. So this doesn't actually cast the spells for you. It casts itself. So it only works on itself, obviously. Come on. It's very obvious. But I still think this is a very good card because you just need 1 Spike Receipt for this to be good, right? And if you use this with the new Potion of Heroism, you actually get to draw a card as well. And yeah, I think Lynessa will be a player. I think this is actually a good card. So I'm going to give this 3 stars. Alright, next we have Dry Gulch Jailer. For 2 mana, you get a 1/1, and when it dies, you get 3 1/1s into your hand. Very good if you have, like, you know, more synergies like hand buffs and whatnot, or if you're gonna play the Silverhand Recruit deck, that's apparently a thing, with Stegodons and whatnot. So I think Dry Gulch Jailer is actually reasonable. I'm gonna give this a 3 stars. I think this can actually break some stuff. And 1 mana cards can activate a lot of stuff. Alright, Benevolent Djinn is a 3 mana 2/4 elemental that at the end of return you restore 3 health to your hero. If you want a card that stabilizes you, this is the card to do it. Very, very strong because your opponent kind of has to deal with it as like if they're playing a very highly aggressive deck like Pirate Warrior, this is gonna be so good. At 4 health is also gonna be pretty good. So I think this is fine. I don't think this is good in the mid-range and control decks, because at the end of the day, you're still playing a 3-mana 2/4. But there are some decks that this beats a lot, like just really, really well. So this is kind of like a meta card. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this 2 stars. It's like, it just beats so many decks. Next we have Potion of Heroism. 2 mana, give a minion Divine Shield and draw a card. This is actually really good because you can play it without something to trade against, and you just draw a card, right? Like drawing a card is always just going to be good. And if you compare this to Purify, then it's like much better, obviously. So it's good to actually get stuff out of it. And also it's really good with Lynessa, because then Lynessa becomes a draw engine. So that's really good. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 3 stars. I think Potion of Heroism has a lot of potential, even in decks that don't need to abuse this mechanic. Alright, next we have Unidentified Maul. For 3 mana, you get a 2/2 weapon that has a battle cry. You get 2 1/1s, you give all your minions Divine Shield, you give them all +1 attack, or you give them all taunt. 3 mana 2/2 weapons are actually not that good in Constructed. The extra effect is okay. The 2 1/1s is obviously insane, because it reminds me of like Muster for Battle. Like it's really good if you get the 1/1s. But the rest of the ones requires you to have a board, and that's sometimes very, very difficult. So I think at the end of the day, Unidentified Maul, you just have to kind of high roll it. And I don't think the most consistent Paladin decks would want to run this. So there's going to be a lot of different ones that are better. So I think Unidentified Maul only gets like 2 stars. I think it's just kind of like a card that is good, maybe if you play a Swarm deck, but otherwise I don't think it's gonna get that good. Alright, next we have the Spellstone for Paladin. It's a 2 mana summon, a 2/2 taunt, and every time you restore 3 health, you get to upgrade it by +2/+2. So it becomes a 4/4 for a taunt for 2, and then you get 6/6 taunt for 2. So that's actually pretty good, because playing a 2 mana 6/6 taunt is really, really powerful. You do need to restore health to yourself, which is a big ask. There is the Benevolent Djinn, which is new, which is pretty good. And then it can also proc from Choose a Champion. They give you attack twice, it kind of works. And then you can also just upgrade it immediately with like Lay on Hands or like Guardian of Kings, although I don't think anybody plays that. Forbidden Healing might be a better card to practice with. So I think this is actually not bad. You can actually craft the turn where you go over the board, like Equality Consecrate, and then you play some big minions on the board. And that's a pretty good swing turn. So yeah, I think Spellstone is fine. It's like a good card. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Next we have Crystal Lion. It's a 6 mana 5/5 Divine Shield minion, and it costs 1 less for each Silverhand recruit you control. So it's one of those cards that rewards you for having more Silverhand recruits. It doesn't really reward you on the turn of when you play Crystal Lion. So say you have 3 Silverhand recruits, you're still gonna play this basically for 6 mana, right? You're gonna play all your Silverhand recruits, and then you're gonna play this so you basically play your Silverhand recruits for free in a sense. It doesn't really make this cost less. A 6 mana 5/5 Divine Shield is actually pretty well positioned, I guess. It's really, once again, Divine Shield is really strong as minions. It's also really good at trading for 5/5, and is also really good at going face. So at the end of the day, I think Crystal Lion is just fine. I don't think the extra benefit of the reduction is that important. I think it's just fine. I don't think it's gonna be that good. Like Silverhand recruit decks might even play the deck without Crystal Lion, because like it's just a 6 mana 5/5 Divine Shield. Like it's not really like breaking the game. So I'm gonna give this like 1 star. I don't think it's that good. Next we have Call to Arms. It's a 4 mana Paladin spell that recruits 3 minions that cost 2 or less. This is really strong. This is actually one of the stronger Paladin spells that are released, because for 4 mana you get 6 mana worth of stuff. And once again, you can play cards that you're not supposed to be playing, and they can be really good. I don't think you would want to play Milhouse Mana Storm still, because there's still a chance that you draw it. But you can play Dirty Rat, and that's really good. And you can also play like other 2 mana creatures that like are kind of like techie cards. Like for example, Galaka Crawler, right? Like Galaka Crawler was found in so many decks, because there were so many pirate decks that were just, you know, breaking standard. So this gives you a reason to play some 2-drops, and I think this is really strong. There might even be like, you know, the more aggressive Paladin deck that just plays a lot of 2-drops and just play 2 Call to Arms. But I think it's actually a very good reason to just play this in every single deck. At least the first one. I think Call to Arms is really strong. I'm gonna give this 5 stars. I think this is a really, really strong card. Finally, we have Level Up. 5 for 5 mana, you give your Silverhand Recruits +2/+2 and taunt. So very similar to Quartermaster, but instead of Quartermaster, you don't get the body. Quartermaster was actually played when it was in the Grand Tournament, because it was such a big swing. It was mainly because of Muster for Battle, I guess. Right now, the way to make Silverhand Recruits would be, you know, 25% chance of unidentified maul. You can also play it with Draco Jailer, and you can also play it with Lost in the Jungle, right? So like this effect is always gonna be pretty relevant. I just don't feel like that. Like losing the 2/5 body is not really that big, and the fact that if it only buffs like 1 or 2 minions, then losing the 2/5 body is actually pretty big. But at the end of the day, I think this is still gonna be fine. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think the Silverhand Recruit does actually have some potential to be a good deck. Alright, so those are the Paladin cards. I think Paladin got some, you know, just Call to Arms and Valinir are just really, really powerful. And I think if mid-range Paladin is gonna be a thing, then those 2 cards are gonna be the reason why. Alright, onwards to Mage. Alright, let's go ahead and look at Alunef first. Alunef is a 6 mana 0/3 weapon that at the end of your turn, you get to draw 3 cards. So you basically nourish the turn you play this. At the end of every turn, you get a nourish. So that's actually really powerful. Because if you play this in like aggro mage, you basically get a free nourish every turn. So then you can just start slinging fireballs and frostballs in your opponent's face. This is a very good high end for those aggro mage decks. You don't even play any 7 drops or 8 drops because you want to dump your hand as soon as possible. I think this is a really powerful card. I'm gonna give this 5 stars just because aggro mage is gonna be so good with this, and I don't think this is good in control mage or elemental mage or anything like that. All right, next we have Dragon Caller Alana. For 9 mana, you get a 3/3, and you can summon a 5/5 dragon for each spell you cast this game that costs 5 or more. So this is really good as like a top end for control mage decks, right? You basically summon a board full of 5/5s when you play this. This doesn't work with Deck of Wonders later that we're gonna see. It works with the first cast of Deck of Wonders, but it doesn't work with the rest of the scrolls. I think Dragon Caller Alana is fine. I think you would just play this if you're playing like a control deck, right? Like the super grindy control deck that like the grinder mage that Strifecrow likes to play. I think this is a fine card in that list. It just summoned as such a big board. So I think Dragon Caller Alana is great. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think it's good. Next we have Raven Familiar. For 2 mana, you get a 2/2 beast that jousts, you know, the old joust mechanic. And then if your spell costs more than their spell, you get to draw your card. So really good if you can actually abuse it. And I think the way to abuse this would be to play a deck with Spiteful Summoner as well, right? If you play Spiteful Summoner, you're loading your deck with very, very expensive cards as well, right? So I think this expensive mage deck spell might be a thing, because playing a 2-mana 2/2 draw a card is really ridiculous, right? It's like the Arcanologist for big spell priest. It's like the Arcanologist for big spell mage. Why do I keep on messing up mage and priest? They're so similar. So Raven Ruler, I think is good. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Arcane Artificer is a 1 mana 1/2 elemental that whenever you cast a spell, you gain armor equal to its cost. So this is just a pure armor gain card, and it's very similar to Ironhide. That reminds me of that card. I don't think you want to play this in Elemental Mage, because Elemental Mage is a very tempo based deck, and you never want to play a 1 mana 1/2 in the first place. This is reasonable when you play in a control, especially if you play 2 on the same board. Reminds me of kind of like Armorsmith, I guess, in a sense. And it's 1 mana, so it's very easy to just gain some armor. So at the end of the day, I think Arcane Artificer does kind of fit in the control mage deck. I think it's actually fine. It actually lets you live to the end there, like to your big cards, like your Kazakus and whatnot. But obviously you can just choose other stuff. Like when I play when I play the Razakis, not Razakis, when I play Kazakus Mage back then, like control, I always feel like that I'm kind of dying all the time. And Arcane Artificer does kind of help that out, because they kind of have to kill it, so they lose 1 attack, and then you do gain the armor immediately, so you can just like play this and just play a 7 mana cost spell immediately, right? So I think this is reasonable. I'll give this 2 stars. I think it's reasonable. Shifting Scroll is the first card in Hearthstone that has a question mark mana cost. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random mage spell, which is kind of interesting because if you get this from like a primordial glyph or anything, this actually retains the discount and it actually shifts immediately, so you don't have to wait a turn, which is actually pretty good. The problem with this, obviously in Constructed, is that it's like it suffers from the Shifted Zero syndrome, where, you know, it's kind of like random. You can't actually just press a button to make it pause to something you like. And yes, I did predict it like 6 months ago. I predicted a version of this. I didn't predict that it would transform into a random mage spell specifically. I predicted that it would be any spell. But obviously mage spell would be better than any spell. I think this is still a little bit memey. I don't think this is gonna be a player at all at the end of the day. I think the only way you can see this being played is Primordial Glyph and maybe Kobolds Tome, because it doesn't even activate Quest Mage. It's a card that started in your deck. So yeah, I'm gonna rate this pretty low. I'm gonna give this 1 star. Next we have Ruby Spellstone. Is the spellstone for mages. You add a random mage spell to your hand, and every time you play 2 elementals, you upgrade it for a maximum of 3 mage spells into your hand. So the final version is kind of like Kobolds Tome, and the second version is kind of like Arcane Intellect. I don't really like this card because you have to play elementals to play this. And if you're playing elementals, you don't really want to draw random spells. You just want to get through your deck and just fling fireballs at your opponent and just just run through your deck. You don't want random spells. And the fact that you have to actually pay mana to draw these cards is also a problem. Like Primordial Glyph is much better. This does combo pretty well with the elemental that we're going to see later on in a few cards. So that might be a combo. That might be why this card is good. But there are a lot of shitty mage spell cards that you don't want to add in for the random. Like, discovering as mage spell is so much more different than adding a random mage spell. You do not want to get like Mirror Image or Glacial Mysteries or Shatter. Like, there are some shitty mage spells, man. So I don't think I like this card. Interestingly enough though, if the meta is really, really grindy, you want to, like, this card could be a consideration because it can draw itself. So then you get infinite loops. But then you already play your elementals, so you technically don't get infinite loops. So yeah, I'm not really big on this card. I'm just gonna give this 1 star. Next we have Explosive Runes. For 3 mana, you get a secret. After your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it, and then any access to their enemy hero. So it kind of has trample, right? This is good just because Arcanologist exists, right? Like, Arcanologist makes, you know, Secret Mage could be a thing. And this does go face pretty well, especially if your opponent is playing cards that don't really affect the board, like 1/1s that draw a card or whatnot. This is like a 2nd Fireball in that case, or a 3rd Fireball, whatever. So I think Explosive Runes has potential because it is a secret after all, and secrets are kind of a thing maybe. I think this is fine. I'm gonna give this 2 stars. A secret that you might want to consider when you're playing Secret Mage. Leyline Manipulator is one of the most insane elementals. That's going to be released in Constructed. For 4 mana, you get a 4/5 elemental, so really, really powerful stats. And if you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2, which means that you're basically drawing 2 innervates per card that you discovered or per card that you added randomly, which is everything, right? Babbling Book, Shimmering Tempest, all these new cards that draw random stuff. This Leyline elemental is just really good. Works on Flame Geyser's elemental as well. Works in Pyros as well. This is just a ridiculous card, right? This is easy 5 stars. And obviously, like I said before, it combos with the lesser Ruby. It combos with the Ruby Spellstone. So if Ruby Spellstone is going to be a thing, then it's because of Leyline Manipulator. Next we have Deck of Wonders. For 5 mana, you get to shuffle 5 scrolls into your deck. And then when you draw them, you basically Yogg-Saron 1 time. So you get 5 Yogg-Sarons in the future. I think this card is not too bad, and it's actually important to know that this card is not too bad because you might get it randomly from the random effects, right? You can get it from the Spellstone, you can get it from Babbling Book or Primordial Glyph or Shimmering Tempest. I think it's actually good to cast this, and I think it's pretty bad to include this in your deck. So this is a 0-star card, but it is good to cast this when you get it from random effects. So just keep that in mind, because most spells, if you look at all the spells in Hearthstone. Most of the spells just benefit you because they have secrets, because you have card draw spells, because you have one-sided effects. So playing Deck of Wonders is okay. It is actually not 5 mana do nothing. It's 5 mana do something later, which is reasonable. And finally, we have Dragon's Fury. For 5 mana, you reveal a spell from your deck, and then you AoE the board equal to its cost. Well, AoE is always just good for mages. It helps. This benefits from Dragon Caller and Lana, of course, because if you're playing big spells, then Dragon's Fury is gonna wipe the board really, really clean. This makes it so that you can't really play Frostbolt or Primordial Glyph, which is a little bit of a problem. So if you only play Fireball and onwards, this will always deal 4 damage, and 5 mana deal 4 to everything is really good, right? That is really, really ridiculous. Maybe you still play Primordial Glyph anyways, and hope you either don't joust this or you just keep Primordial Glyph in your opening hand. But Dragon's Fury is going to be a good card. So I'm going to give this a 4-star. I think this is just reasonable. And it just asks you to do a little bit of deck building. So overall, Mage is looking pretty good. Elemental Mage is really good. And I'm looking forward to playing with the Big Spell Mage as well. And of course, Alunef with the Aggro Mage. I think it's actually just going to be a thing. This one card is going to make Aggro Mage really, really powerful. Hunter is our next class. We have a legendary weapon called Rock Delar. 7 mana 4/2. Battle cry, if your deck has no minions, fill your hand with Hunter spells. So this is the new archetype for Hunter, right? It's the archetype that you want to not include a single minion in your deck. There are a lot of spells now that summon minions. So those are the fake minions in the deck. But I don't know, man. I feel like this is not really that good. Like 7 mana draw full cards, while good. There are a lot of Hunter spells that don't do anything, right? All the secrets are not really that good. Like, you don't really want that. And there are stuff that just don't do anything, like Flare and whatever. Like, they're just not that good. So I don't think Rock the Law is going to be a player. And I don't even think that the no minion Hunter deck is going to be good. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 0. I don't think this is ever going to be good. And even if you run like a no minion Hunter deck, a 7 mana 4/2 is not really breaking the game as turn 7, right? You'd rather play a card that we're going to mention later instead. Alright, next we have Katharina Winterwisp. 8 mana 6/6 with Battlecry and Death Rattle. You get to recruit a beast from your deck. This is a very, very powerful effect. And I think it's a very strong card. The fact that it can actually recruit stuff like Savannah Highmane, King Crush, Swamp King Dread, and even the dinosaur that charges a 7/7 charge. And you can also use this to charge your opponent's face because it doesn't have a battle cry when you recruit it, right? Makes this card really, really powerful. This does ask you to play Control Hunter though, which is a problem by itself because Control Hunter doesn't have a hero power. And early game is going to struggle a lot. But Katharina Winterwisp is a very, very strong card. So we're going to go ahead and give this 5-star card. It's a very, very strong card. Unfortunately, it's placed in an archetype that's not really that good. Like, imagine if this was in any other class, right? This is really good. But yeah, it's unfortunate that you had to play Hunter for this. Next we have Flanking Strike. For 4 mana, you deal 3 damage to a minion and summon a 3/3 wolf. So this is good in the all spells deck because you're effectively playing a Phoenix for 4, right? That you can still play in that. Otherwise I don't think you really want to play this card. I mean, it's a lot of stats for a minion, right? A 3/3 that deals 3 damage is a lot of stats. So it's a big tempo swing. I think this is still a reasonable card. I mean, there's just so many stats with this card that makes it so that it's really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this 2 stars. I think this might see play. Like it's kind of okay. No, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Next we have Cave Hydra. For 3 mana, you get a 2/4 beast that also damages the minions next to whoever this attacks. I don't think this is good at all. I think cleave mechanics in Constructed is just not gonna work out. Your opponent can play around it pretty well by playing the biggest minion at the middle or playing the top minions at the side. And you also need to buff the attack of this for it to be good. Yeah, I don't think this is actually good. I think Cave Hydra is pretty bad. It is relevant though because now you can actually discover it from Deathstalker Rexar for the Death Knight. So then you can actually make any beast you craft have cleave. So that is an application, but otherwise I don't think it's good. So I think this is 0. Candle Shot is a 1 mana 1/3 weapon with immune while attacking. So you basically get to deal 3 damage split across 3 turns into minions if you wish. I think Candle Shot is really strong, and you know, it might make a control hunter list actually, if such a list even exists. So I'm gonna go ahead and rate Candle Shot pretty well. I'm gonna give it like 3 stars. Like the fact that it can deal 3 damage over 3 turns and you don't need to take any damage and you can split it up and you can pick off some patches and ha-has. I think this is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I think it's a good, it's not a bad card. Wandering Monster is a 2-mana secret for hunters. When an enemy attacks your hero, summon a 3-cost minion as a new target. These effects are usually just bad. It's like Explosive Trap and it's like Bear Trap, where sure, it's really good because you can race your opponent with this, right? Like you can just keep on steady shotting and then your opponent is like, oh my god, I can't win the game, so I have to attack your face, and then I proc this. But then summoning a 3-cost minion as a new target is not really that insane. It's like a kind of like a bad vaporize. You really need your opponent to attack with a small minion so that your 3-cost minion survives. Otherwise, anything attacks into you and then the 3-cost just kind of dies. I mean, there are a lot of poisonous minions now at 3 mana, so that's a little bit of a plus side for that. And sometimes you can just high roll and get like a Mukla or like the 2/8 taunt from Shaman. Other than that, I don't think you want to play this. So I'm gonna give this 0. Seeping Oozling is a 6 mana 5/4 with Battlecry. Gain the death rattle of a random minion in your deck. Now this is actually one of the other cards that could see play in Control Hunter. It is really expensive though, and 6 drops obviously Savannah Highmane is a thing. But what if you only have 2 Savannah Highmanes and you also only have Winter Wisp? So then Oozling becomes either Recruit a Beast on Death, or it also either becomes a Summon 2/2/2. So you're actually playing 4 Highmanes now. At the end of the day, I don't think Control Hunters need the 3rd Highmane or even the 4th Highmane. And since Sylvanas is banned right now, I don't think this is actually going to be good. So I think this is just a little bit too much. So I'm going to give this 1 star. The Spellstone for Hunters, you summon some wolves, okay? So the first version, you summon 2 wolves. And then each time you play Secret, you get to upgrade it to 3 wolves and then 4 wolves, 5 mana. Once again, this is a card you would play in the no minion deck because you're gonna be playing Secrets. There's not gonna be too many cards you can fit in your deck, so you might as well play Secrets as well. And then you get to swarm the board with some wolves. This is actually not too bad. You know, it's a good card for that kind of archetype, but once again, everybody is very suspicious of how good that archetype is. For 5 mana, if you get 3 3/3s, it's like, yeah, it's reasonable. And 4 3/3s, you're actually kind of breaking the game. So Spellstone does have some potential. I'm gonna give it like 3 stars. You can also combo this with Tundra Rhino, and then the last version of this, you can actually deal 14 damage to face. So there are some applications outside of the no minion hunter deck, but overall I think this is fine. To my side, 6 mana, you summon an Animal Companion, or 2 if your deck is no minions. So obviously it asks that you play no minion hunter deck and then you get 2 Animal Companions. I think this is actually not unreasonable. The more I look at this, the more I think that, you know, the no minion hunter deck might be okay. I think at the end of the day, it's still gonna just be okay though. I don't think it's gonna be like a tier 1 deck or anything, because at the early game, you're not really establishing a lot. Like turn 2, what do you play? You play a Secret. Turn 3, you can play Eaglehorn Bow, and then turn 4 is the turn you start playing minions. I think giving up turn 2 for a very passive play is just too slow. So at the end of the day, I think To My Side is a strong card, but the archetype once again is not that good. So, and this, because the archetype is not that good, I'm gonna rate this card pretty low because this is only good in that specific archetype, right? So I'm gonna give this a 1 star. And finally, Crushing Walls is a 7 mana, destroy your opponent's left and rightmost minions. This is usually not gonna work. 7 mana to destroy 2 minions. While it's really good against stuff like Scalebane and Bone Mare boards, it's also 7 mana. It's really expensive. It's really not flexible because if you play this, you can't really play anything else. So I think Crushing Walls is really bad. I'm just gonna give this a 1. Finally, we are onwards to Druid. Druid's legendary is Twig of the World Tree. For 4 mana, you get a 1/5 that death rattles. When it dies, you get 10 mana crystals. Obviously, there's a lot of synergy with some stuff that requires you to have a lot of mana in one turn. For example, if you play this on turn 4, by turn 8 you have attacked 5 times, and then you have a turn of 18 mana, or you can just store this for a 20 mana turn. So there might be some OTK opportunities with Malygos. That's the first thing that comes to mind, because if you have a 20 mana turn, you're probably gonna make Malygos work, right? So that's the first thing. It does ask you to, it does ask, it's kind of like a countdown, right? Like every time you attack with this, as the closer it goes to 1 durability, the closer your opponent's gonna be scared that they're gonna die randomly. The other way to really do this is to just play Medivh after you have this equipped, and then you play Ultimate Manifestation for immediate proc. But then you can just play them separately, and you don't really need this. So yeah, I think Tool of the World Tree is specifically just for the Malygos interaction, and I think because of that, it's not really that good. So I think this is just going to be a 1-star card. I don't think this is going to be that good. And then we have Ixalit Fungal Lord. For 5 mana, you get a 2/4 elemental that after you play a minion, you summon a copy of it. So this actually synergizes with Twig, because when you play Ixalit, you want to play as much stuff as possible, and even more so, you might want to combo stuff out. So then you want more mana, right? If you don't do that well, you can actually try and make this survive somehow by either playing this on turn 5 and praying that this lives, or you can play this on turn 10 and then protect it with some taunts like Druid Claw or whatever, and then hopefully it's good. Facelessing this card is kind of interesting because I'm assuming that it can duplicate multiple stuff. So, you know, maybe there's like an Ixalit Faceless and then Leroy combo, question mark, maybe with Savage Roar with Twig of the World Tree. I mean, honestly, the combo does exist, right? Ixalit. Get it? Ixalit. You can play Ixalit, Faceless Manipulator, crack your Twig, play Leroy, so you get 4 Leroys, and then you Savage Roar for lethal, because that's 34 damage. Sure, it requires 1,000,000 cards to combo that out, but it's pretty sweet. So, you know, that's pretty good. So, at the end of the day, I think this might be a contender. I just think that the card text of this is just so strong. So if there's some way to actually break this, or if there's some way to actually make more high value targets, like if you play Fandral as well, Fandral's kind of like a must kill back in some expansions ago, right? So yeah, Fandral is a must kill in some expansions ago. So I think this might be a thing. I'm gonna give this a 3-star. I think this is a good card. Alright, next up we have Oaken Summons. For 4 mana, you get 6 armor, and then you recruit a minion that costs 4 or less. So this is the new archetype for Druids. You get to recruit 4 or less minions, 4 cost or less minions, and you probably like play a ramp Druid or big Druid that way, right? This is actually pretty good if you only have 4 drops, right? It's not a big ask because early game you can just play Wall Growth and you can play Wrath and stuff like that. And then on 3 you can just play like a Jade Blossom. So Oaken Summons is actually really good in the fact that it's kind of like a Moonglade Portal, right? It restores 6 health to you and then makes a minion on the board. So I want to shrug this off. I think this is pretty powerful, and you can still play Jade with this, right? Like, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, I think this is a fun card. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Ironwood Golem is a 4 mana 3/6 that's taunt and can only attack if you have 3 or more armor. So once again, this is really strong. Having 6 health is very different from having 5 health. It reminds me of Tar Creeper in the fact that you're actually cheating on the mana curve, and every time you cheat on the mana curve, the deck becomes more insane. That's just kind of how Hearthstone works. Like 1 mana discount is a lot. So I think Ironwood Golem is once again really good, especially with this 4 cost recruit thing. So I think Ironwood Golem is just good. So we're gonna give this. I want to give this a 4-star because it just seems really powerful in the right deck. And you know what? I am going to give this 4 stars. Barkskin is a 1 mana, give a minion plus 3 health, and then you gain 3 armor. I think this one sucks. You're giving a minion and yourself 3 health, effectively. And sure, the armor kind of activates some stuff, but giving a minion 3 health is not really worth a card, right? You just want to play Power Shield, because Power Shield at least replaces itself. So I think this is a 0. The Druid Spellstone, Lesser Jasper Spellstone, is a 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion, and every time you gain 3 armor, you upgrade it to the next version. The upgraded versions are deal 4 damage and then deal 6 damage to a minion. I think this card is actually insane because it's a 1 mana, deal 6 damage to a minion at the high end, right? That's actually ridiculous. 1 mana to remove a minion from the battlefield is a really strong effect. And the fact that you need to gain armor is it's not a big ask, you know? Like, sure, you might need to hero power 3 times sometimes to make this work out, which, you know, sometimes you just do. But the fact that it works on the Druid DK makes this card utterly ridiculous. The turn you played the Druid Death Knight, you already gained 5 armor. So I think this is an easy 5-star card, right? Like, 1 mana destroy something is exactly what Druids want. It's like naturalized on crack. So yeah, this is easily one of the best cards in expansion. Next we have Grizzled Guardian, 8 mana 3/5 beast with taunt, and Death Rattle, recruit 2 minions to cost 4 or less. So this is kind of awkward because it's an 8 mana 3/5. It doesn't really trade upwards of anything, right? If this is like an 8 mana, you know, 7/2, it might be better because at least it kills something, but this is just sits there and it really doesn't do anything, right? And how many minions do you need? You need a lot of minions for this to work, because by the time you play this, you might have already drawn some 4-cost minions that you want to play. And last I checked, Druids don't really have a 4 mana 7/7. So yeah, I'm not really big on Grizzled Guardian. I don't think it's gonna work out too well. I'm just gonna give this 1 star. It's still a card that would work in the Recruit 4 deck. Next we have Greedy Sprite. It's a 3 mana 3/1 that ramps you when it dies. These ramps are always just gonna be insane. There are already, this is like the worst ramp out of the bunch though. Like Wild Growth is better, Nourish is better, and Jade Blossom is better because they're immediate effects, right? This one, your opponent is probably not gonna kill it on the turn you play it, and they're only gonna kill it when, you know, when you already have a lot of mana, I guess. It is really aggressively statted, which is good, so you actually deal 3 damage every time they don't kill it. But most likely, you're just gonna kill yourself, right? You're just gonna smack Greedy Sprite into something and then gain the mana for next turn. And in that case, it's kind of like a delayed ramp, which is still fine, you know? Like, ramp cards just want to play as many ramp as possible, and then maybe you can just play Jade Idol and then just like get to Jade Idling ASAP. So I think this is still fine. I think this is 3 stars. Not as good as the other ramp spells though. Next we have Branching Paths. For 4 mana, you get to choose, draw a card, give your minions +1 attack, or gain 6 armor 2 times. So you can actually choose the same thing twice. Very, very strong card because 4 mana gain 12 armor. Like, while it's kind of bad, all the modes are kind of bad if you think of it about it, right? Like 4 mana draw 2 is not really that good, and 4 mana give your minions +2 attack is not really that good either. The fact that it's so versatile though, I think is really good. You're effectively playing 3 different decks when you're queuing with this deck, right? If you're queuing against aggro, then you suddenly got an armor card. If you're playing against control, you suddenly got like a draw card. And if you really want to beat your opponent before they do some real combos, you got attacks on your minions, right? So I think because of that, this is really strong. So I think this is going to be player. I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think this is going to be found in basically a lot of Druid decks. Like a lot of Druid decks are going to play this. All different archetypes. And last but not least, we have Astral Tiger. Okay, maybe the least. Because it's a 4 mana 3/5 that when it dies, you shuffle a copy of this minion to your deck. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Recruit 4 a thing so that you always get the Recruit 4, right? Like basically when it dies, you get to get it back into your deck. But the fact of the matter is, you don't want a 4 mana 3/5 ever, right? It's a 4 mana 3/5 vanilla creature, and it doesn't even have taunt or anything, right? It just kind of doesn't do anything. So I think this is a very easy 0-star card, and it's not gonna happen. So overall, Druid got some really strong cards. Twig, the legendaries are gonna be kind of sneaky because there might be a deck that takes advantage of 20 mana turns. But I think Jasper Spellstone is just gonna once again push Druid out of over the edge because it's just such a strong removal spell, and the Recruit 4 deck might be a thing as well. All right, and that concludes our constructed compendium. Thank you so much for watching this video, and because this is so long, I think after a week of the new expansion, I'm gonna be coming up with, actually, you know what? When the expansion comes out, I'm gonna be coming up with the top 5 cards I think are gonna be insane in Constructed and Arena. It's gonna be very simple, right? I mean, most of the cards that I think are good are gonna be the 5-star cards, but I'm still gonna make a top 5 list, and it's gonna be awesome. And then we'll see how accurate my top 5 list becomes after, you know, we play this expansion a lot. My guess, all right, how much do you guys gonna guess? All right, basically here at this point, you're gonna have to rate Amaz out of 5 stars, right? For each card I get right, I get 1 star. So for Arena, I will get a maximum of 5 stars, and for Constructed, I get a maximum of 5 stars. We're gonna see. But for now, make sure you tune into my stream in Kobolds and Catacombs release. That's gonna be in December 7th, which is really soon. And yeah, we're gonna be playing a lot of fun decks for you guys. And we're gonna also be opening a lot of packs, obviously. So, see you.